By the late 14th century, the Ottoman Empire had risen to power as a formidable force in both Anatolia and the Balkans. Following their victory at the Battle of Kosovo in 1389, the Ottomans secured control over most of the Balkans, leaving the Byzantine Empire reduced to a small area around Constantinople. Meanwhile, Europe remained politically fragmented and embroiled in internal conflicts, such as the 100 Years' War between England and France. This disunity prevented a coordinated response to the growing Ottoman threat. Recognizing the Ottoman advance as a dire threat to Christendom, Pope Boniface IX sought to revive the crusading spirit of earlier centuries. In 1394, he called for a new crusade to repel the Ottoman forces. King Sigismund of Hungary, whose kingdom bordered the expanding Ottoman Empire, became the leading advocate for the crusade. In August 1395, Sigismund's envoys arrived in Paris, describing an impending Ottoman invasion of Christian lands and appealing for assistance. They claimed that 40,000 Turks were marching toward Hungary, painting a grim picture that galvanized the French nobility. King Charles VI of France, having recently secured peace with England through the marriage of his daughter, declared his intention to support the crusade. French nobles enthusiastically responded, eager to defend Christianity and gain glory on the battlefield. Knights from across Europe, including Burgundy, Germany, Italy, and Poland, joined the crusading effort, forming an army of approximately 20,000 men. The French contingent was led by John the Fearless, son of Philip the Bold, Duke of Burgundy. Alongside him were many high-ranking nobles and experienced knights. King Sigismund of Hungary, who commanded the overall Crusader force, was delighted by the impressive assembly of soldiers. The Burgundians, Germans, and Knights Hospitaller all brought significant forces, while smaller groups from Italy, Poland, and Wallachia added to the diverse coalition. Despite the impressive size of the Crusader army, tensions among its leaders soon became apparent. The French knights, proud of their chivalric traditions, often clashed with Sigismund over strategy and command. Nevertheless, the army set forth from Buda, modern-day Budapest, in April 1396, marching along the Danube River with the ultimate goal of expelling the Ottomans from the Balkans, aiding Constantinople, and liberating the Holy Land. The Crusaders' first target was the fortress of Vidin, a key Ottoman stronghold on the Danube. The local ruler, Ivan Stratimir of Bulgaria, who had little loyalty to the Ottomans, quickly surrendered without resistance. The Crusaders executed the Ottoman officers stationed there, but spared the Bulgarian population. Buoyed by this easy victory, the French knights became overconfident, believing the campaign would be swift and decisive. The next objective was the fortress of Oryahovo, located 75 miles downstream. Frustrated by the lack of opportunities to demonstrate their valor, the French knights undertook a forced night march to reach the fortress ahead of their ally. Upon arrival, they engaged the Ottoman defenders in fierce combat, securing the bridge leading to the fortress. However, they were unable to press forward until the main Crusader force arrived the following day. After a brief siege, the inhabitants of Oryahovo agreed to surrender to Sigismund on the condition that their lives and property would be spared. Despite this agreement, the French knights pillaged and massacred the town's population after the gates were opened, causing tension with Sigismund and other leaders. Flush with confidence, the Crusaders continued their advance toward Nicopolis, a well-fortified Ottoman stronghold. Along the way, they bypassed smaller fortresses, allowing Ottoman messengers to alert Sultan Bayezid I of the Crusader army's movements. Bayezid, known for his swift and decisive actions, quickly mobilized his forces, drawing troops from both his Anatolian heartland and Balkan territories. Nicopolis occupied a strategic position overlooking the Danube and was defended by a formidable garrison under Doğan B. The Crusaders reached the fortress in mid-September 1396, but lacked the heavy siege equipment needed to breach its defenses. As a result, they settled in for a prolonged siege, hoping to starve out the defenders. Meanwhile, Bayezid and his army marched rapidly to relieve Nicopolis. The Ottoman force, estimated at around 20,000 men, included 1,500 Serbian heavy cavalry under the command of Prince Stefan Lazarevich, Bayezid's brother-in-law. Despite being outnumbered by the Crusaders, Bayezid relied on his troops' superior discipline and his own tactical acumen. Word of the approaching Ottoman army reached the Crusader camp, prompting Sigismund to convene a war council. He proposed a cautious battle plan, suggesting that his experienced Hungarian infantry engage the Ottoman vanguard first, while the French knights held back in reserve. However, the proud French nobles, led by John the Fearless and Philip of Artois, rejected this strategy. They insisted on leading the charge themselves, viewing it as dishonorable to let common infantrymen precede them in battle. At dawn, on September 25, 1396, the French knights mounted their war horses and rode out to meet the Ottomans. The initial Ottoman line consisted of poorly trained conscripts who were quickly overwhelmed by the heavily armored French cavalry. Encouraged by their apparent success, the French knights pressed forward, ignoring calls to regroup. As the French advanced up a slope, they encountered rows of sharpened stakes hidden in the ground, which severely hampered their progress. Ottoman archers, positioned behind the stakes, unleashed a devastating volley of arrows. Many knights were dismounted, and their horses were killed, leaving them vulnerable. Despite these setbacks, the French knights fought on, eventually reaching the main Ottoman line. However, Bayezid had kept a large reserve force hidden behind the ridge. As the exhausted French forces reached the plateau, they were met by fresh Ottoman troops who swiftly encircled them. Realizing the gravity of their situation, some knights attempted to retreat, but most were captured or killed. While the French knights were being surrounded, Sigismund led the main Crusader army into battle. His Hungarian infantry and Wallachian cavalry engaged the Ottomans in fierce combat, initially making some progress. However, the arrival of the Serbian heavy cavalry tipped the balance in Bayezid's favor. The Ottomans launched a coordinated counterattack, flanking the Crusaders and cutting off their retreat. Saying that the battle was lost, Sigismund and a small contingent of his troops managed to escape by boat across the Danube. The remaining Crusaders were either killed or captured. The aftermath was brutal. Bayezid ordered the execution of thousands of prisoners, sparing only the highest-ranking nobles for ransom. The Battle of Nicopolis was a catastrophic defeat for the Crusaders and marked the end of major European efforts to curb Ottoman expansion for several decades. It highlighted the disunity and lack of coordination among European powers, as well as the dangers of overconfidence and poor planning. The Ottoman victory at Nicopolis solidified Bayezid's control over the Balkans and increased his reputation as a formidable military leader. However, his triumph was short-lived. Just a few years later, in 1402, Bayezid suffered a crushing defeat at the Battle of Ankara against Timur, leading to a temporary fragmentation of the Ottoman Empire. For Europe, the defeat at Nicopolis served as a sobering reminder of the Ottoman threat. It prompted renewed efforts to strengthen defenses and fostered the formation of alliances that would later play a crucial role in future conflicts, such as the formation of the Holy League. The Battle of Nicopolis remains one of the most significant clashes of the late medieval period, symbolizing the enduring conflict between Christian Europe and the Ottoman Empire. It underscored the importance of unity, discipline, and effective leadership in warfare, lessons that would resonate in subsequent centuries as Europe continued to grapple with the rising power of the Ottomans. Despite the defeat, the battle inspired numerous accounts in medieval literature and chronicles. highlighting both the valor of the knights and the harsh realities of medieval warfare. Today, Nicopolis stands as a poignant reminder of a pivotal moment in history, when two great civilizations clashed in a struggle for dominance over Southeast Europe.